Hey, I'm back. So I'm just I've been meaning to do this for about 2 weeks, and I'm like, let's just go for it right now versus waiting for the perfect time. And it's divine feminine and physical beauty. And oh my goodness, it's such an interesting road to get there. So the divine feminine for me, I have found are in three parts. One is the spiritual, tapping into divine feminine, which I was working with Oshun for the last year and a half. I would just do a 5 minute meditation with her, just like the healings I just did to tap into that. The other ones is physical beauty, which actually is a divine feminine that works for both men and women. And the third aspect is divine feminine, but it is in relationships. And I have found if you practice those three pillars, you will rule the world. I'm going to say this right now. She or he who rules the divine feminine rules the world. Okay? She or he who rules the divine feminine right now rule the world. And there's a lot going on. So I'm going to tell you from my viewpoint, there's a lot of people out there teaching this. I think they got some things wrong because they're only focusing on beauty and they're not focusing on the spiritual or the relationship aspect. But I'm going to show you what I've learned through my teachings, what I've been deepening my development with, the books that I've read, and what's out there, and where I think you could do so much better if you find the medium in between. So, divine feminine, right? So, I'm going to say it again. There's three parts I have found to the divine feminine and tapping into that. It's the spiritual aspect, which I spoke about in I have a video called like the 13 Original Clan Sisters. It's basically taught me everything I need to know from like the Hopi Indians on what it meant to be tapped into the divine feminine on a spiritual level, which basically, if I summarized it, made me just more open to receive, sit back more, not try to force, and just understand that my place is just to be on a spiritual level and not to get involved in other people's journey. They have the right to their journey. Sit back and you do your journey, right? So that's just a really quick summary, although I go into detail on it more. But let's talk about physical beauty because when I was looking into this divine femininity, just to get more clarification, because I definitely got in touch with the spiritual with my practices with Oshun and my literature on the spiritual aspect. And I'm like, okay, I really get this and I can live and embody this. And it really helped accelerate my spiritual growth. So if you guys are wondering why I'm so confident and I'm like, yeah, I'm 5D, like that's why. Because of that work I did in the divine feminine on the spiritual level. What does it mean to be in your sacred feminine on that level? And what does that mean when it comes to compassion? What does it mean when it comes to giving people the space to succeed at their own pace? What is your role and what's not your place? How you also need to self-care, and that is good leadership as well. So there are so many things that accelerated my spiritual growth just on the divine feminine. So I recommend the book, like the 13 Original Clan Sisters. Like that has everything you need to know in 13 different stories, period, point blank. If you want to accelerate your spiritual growth, that. So but let's talk about physical beauty, because it's funny, when I started looking at divine feminine and black femininity, I saw these videos and I don't like them because they're just like, look pretty. Pretty girls get all the guys. Pretty girls do this. Pretty girls do this. Oh, okay. Someone asked a question that's really off topic. What's a sister with the same name? I wouldn't think it's a sign at all if you met someone with a sister the same name as you, but you'll have to go inside to see if that's your own spirit guides. So everything was just like, you gotta be pretty. Pretty girls ruled this. And it was very much lacking. It was like, always stay fresh, always have makeup, always do your hair, make sure your toes are good. And it stopped there. Just be pretty. Just be physically pretty. Now, physical beauty is a part of it. There's a reason we know that Nefertiti and Oshun and Cleopatra are known for their beauty and how much power they wielded. So when I was looking deeper into it, I was going into the psychological reasons of why beauty works. And it literally makes people heal better. When they're in prettier environments around prettier people, they heal better. So they have like examples of like two hospitals, one's renovated and one's not. And the people in the renovated hospital in a prettier environment would actually heal at a better and faster rate. So energetically, symmetry and beauty and all of that literally makes people feel better and makes people heal better. It is an energetic thing. So I don't. So there's all these videos like, hey, femininity, it's all about looking cute. Like it is, but we really got to be very cautious that it's not just about that. Like there's underlying reasons, but yes, it does matter. And so I'm talking about like the power of it. And so you guys know me, like I do things, but I'm always like interested in power. So so I'll dress up like this because it gives me power, right? Like everyone has said it, everyone will admit it. You know, when you dress up and look nice, people treat you better. That is true. You know it, I know it. And that doesn't just apply to women, it also applies to men. But it's also like a spiritual power. And I was asking like, what is this? And they were just like, well, they programmed beauty into us so that, you know, something long ago where it was programmed into our psyche to keep certain people on top and other people not on top. But that programming and that energetic like watches are still here. So all I want to say is that when it comes to the divine feminine for men and women, tapping into the physical beauty aspect is a powerful mood for you that will get you results. And it's so funny because you see pictures of people and like, you know, they might be like a 5 on the scale of like 1 to 10, but if they're dressed up, they're like a 7 or 8, right? So that is power. So it is an aspect of it. And it's actually one that like I don't really want to spend too much time on. Just to say that if you tap into this power, you make people feel good. I am not someone who's a monkey who's into just playing for other people's amusement, but I have noticed, and yes, I'm dating and whatnot. So this helps, of course, to attract the kind of people that I want. But it also makes people feel good. So I would say part of the divine feminine journey in the physical beauty is something that I would recommend everyone start that. I was never the kind of person, I'll just share my viewpoint that like, oh, I have to wear makeup every time I go out the house because I'm very much not a shallow person. I'm just not. I look at people underneath. That is how my MO is. And that's why I'm able to do what I do because I can see beneath the surface. So I never really like that. Like you need to like me for me. But recently, as I'm getting into the divine feminine, because like I said, she who rules the divine feminine or he who rules the divine feminine rule the world right now because the divine feminine is here. And if you tap into it, people just love it. They're like, oh my God, they don't even know why they love it. They're just gravitating towards me, right? Or do you? You know what I mean? Like they don't even understand. And the reality is that the divine feminine has been so missing that all of these things coming into play, like people are waiting for it. So when I say he or she who rules the divine feminine and really masters that, like you're really going to be at an accelerated pace for your spiritual growth. And you're really going to be at an accelerated pace for just having the ability to influence and get people to come to you. So it really wasn't my thing. I do it now very strategically because I do understand it has a role to play. It does give me a certain setting and cachet, and it does help my attraction level for the things that I am manifesting and implementing right now coming into play. Just if you go to these channels that are like just all about just looking pretty, but it doesn't go any deeper than that, but they say their femininity, I would really be cautious because I'm actually going to go into the relationship aspect of the divine feminine, which is huge. Whew. Honestly, I'm looking at it, I was like, oh my God, I'd still be married if I knew all this stuff about, you know, like the divine feminine and what that meant. So I'll talk about that in the next video. But tapping into the beauty, I would say right now, own it, do it. Don't be, like, listen, be like me if you want and be like, hey, you need to like me for me. But she or he who rules the divine feminine rules the world. And that is going forward through the next age of Aquarius. Okay. So I'm just going to say that. Just avoid the ones that are just like superficial. And men, it works for you too. So they were showing like men who are like a 5, but when they dress up and take care of themselves and they do facials, like their cachet goes up dramatically as well. Like it is not just a female thing. It is part of tapping into it. It's part of the self-care on the physical level. So your physical beauty is an asset that is very deep. And everyone can get a makeover and look good, right? Like you don't have to start off with a beautiful canvas. So I'm just going to end on that. I thought I had more to say, but I don't. But I hope this, like, if anyone's looking in the divine feminine, I just want to give a take that isn't always talked about. Like, it's just a little shallow. We can go deeper than that. And, you know, I like being able to attract and manifest what I want. And so I can manifest what I want without tapping into the physical beauty aspect and making sure I look a certain way. But, you know, come on, make it easy on yourself. So with that, I'm going to